Welcome all of you to this familiarization session. Myself is Dr. Sabir Hussain. I'm Associate Professor and Nodal Officer. I'm placed at IITTM Bhubaneswar. And today we are going to discuss about air cargo industry in general, its trends, contemporary trends, future prospects, and a forecast also we'll discuss. I would be giving you brief impetus on what does it mean when you talk about cargo industry, what are the different types of cargo players, how many airlines are providing freighter services, and how air cargo industry is related to your domain, that is travel and tourism management, and what career prospects it provides you in terms of your future. These are something we are going to discuss in coming 1 hour's time. Let me tell you that this topic may be a new topic for many of you, not acquainted with the area. For the first time, you may be listening to various nomenclatures, definitions, maybe seeing some pictures for the first time. But I assure you, it is going to be very interesting if you open up your mind to learn a new subject. Now I'll be sharing my screen with you people. I'll be showing you a PPT. As the PPT says, General Introduction to Freight Industry, Growth, Trend and Forecast 2020-24. Before starting, let me tell you, in the present scenario of pandemic, this is one industry which is working as a savior to civil aviation across the globe. Because of the present pandemic, the entire world has stopped. All business operations have virtually come to a halt, except virtual operations. But during this pandemic, one business operation which is doing very good business, that is the freight industry, and especially the air freight industry, because of its faster mode of operation and providing emergency service across the globe. Even many airlines of the world who were known as passenger airlines, to survive in the present scenario, have converted some of their fleets into cargo fleets to sustain the economic strain of the present pandemic. Thus, it is opening a Pandora box in terms of career opportunities for aspiring graduates and postgraduates who wants to look for a career opportunity in the field of travel, tourism, cargo, logistics, supply chain. And in terms of remuneration also, this trade offers you a remuneration of highest order if you compare it with other trade. The remuneration structure in airline industry is of very highest order. So this provides you an opportunity to tune your career and steer yourself to join these. Before going further into the topic, let me also give you some hint about what are the career avenues available for you people, as it is a familiarization class, not going into too much of academics and giving you inputs on the very first day of my class only. Let me tell you, as you have taken a judicious decision of joining Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, there may be negative news you are hearing from different sources, from different medias, that the entire tourism industry has come to a standstill. And tourism industry has come to a standstill because of the pandemic, and many people in millions have lost their job. Let me tell you, as we have been affected by the pandemic, and tourism industry is going to be the torch bearer to open up post-pandemic, torch bearer to carry forward the global economy, Indian economy, local economy, because this is an industry which is not depending on machines. It depends on human capitals. As an industry which is depending on human capitals, to bounce back, attitudinal transformation is required, which is easier to achieve than a mechanical transformation. If an iron company or a steel manufacturing company is closed down, to restart the company, you need to invest a lot of money to revive the company, revive the machines, revive the supply chain, revive the equipment, revive the godown, revive the market. Lots of money you need to pump in. But whereas in this case, you need to pump in only one positive transformation, that yes, we need to do it. The pandemic is over, or we'll be able to win over it. So reviving human capital is easy because it is an attitudinal transformation than reviving mechanical capital, which is difficult in terms of cost. So tourism industry would bounce back very soon, and I do not see there is any reason to think pessimistically. Because there are optimisms only is seen beyond the horizons. I am very much optimistic about the career prospects of all of you who have taken a judicious decision of joining IITTM. And mark my word, in about 2 years' time, the MBAs, and in about 3 years' time, the BBAs would be able to place yourself in a much better position. And you'll remember my words that Hussain sir told us in the familiarization class, that we would bounce back and we would be in a much better position. And that is going to happen. That is going to happen. Just believe in yourself. We are going to overcome this obstacle. Humanity in the past have overcome all the obstacles thrown to it. And this time also, we are going to overcome it. And we are not only going to overcome it, we are going to lead the overcome. That is more important. The tourism industry is going to lead the overcome over this pandemic. And you people, as torch bearers or ambassadors, would lead the overcome, the young minds. Okay, I wish all of you very best, and for joining IITTM and giving us an opportunity to steer your future. Let us get into the topic further. Whenever we talk about this air freight industry or air market, it is segmented by freight. Freight means general cargo, express, mail and other services. And these freights are happening between destinations, both at domestic level and at international level. Okay. And these pictures, you people are not familiar. This is a picture of a high loader. It is loading a container into one aircraft. Okay, this is a container. To be more technically precise, this one is a structural igloo. This particular equipment, which is getting into the aircraft, is a structural igloo. I'm not going into the technicalities now. You simply remember this is an equipment or unit load device inside which consignments are placed, which is sealed with the help of nets and closure. And this machine, which is lifting this container with the help of conveyor belt, it would be slided into the belly of the aircraft. This is how things are loaded into the aircraft and aircraft moves. This is another picture of cargo being loaded into the front of an aircraft. You see how the front portion has been lifted up and this portion opened up, and here cargo is loaded into the aircraft. Cargo can be loaded from the front, from the rear, and from the side, depending on the size of the cargo and depending on the contour of the cargo. It is decided from which side the cargo would be loaded into an aircraft. Air cargo services are provided by a segmented group of air carriers that provide various services based upon wide-ranging customer demands. The following four basic type of carriers provide these services. Number one is integrated express operators. Number two is air cargo carriers. Number three is commercial service passenger airlines. And number four is ad hoc cargo charter carriers. These are the four operators who provide air cargo services across the globe. Some popular air cargo service providers are your integrated express operators like FedEx, UPS, DHL, operate a fleet of scheduled aircraft, trucks, and couriers offering door-to-door delivery services. These carriers operate extensive hub and spoke network, providing expansive geographic coverage. And when we talk about hub and spoke network means, hub means the headline city from where cargoes are moving. So for example, in the case of India, Delhi is a hub from where cargoes are moving to a different part of India. Delhi to Bhubaneswar, Delhi to Gwalior, Delhi to Bengaluru, Delhi to Chennai, Delhi to Chandigarh, Delhi to Srinagar. So hub and spoke. That's what, when I talk about hub and spoke, that means one destination or one airport, which is the bigger one, having all the facilities. From there, all the cargoes or passengers are destined to different places. Similarly, if we talk about international, so Paris to London, Paris is the hub. Paris to London, Paris to Frankfurt, Paris to New York, Paris to Bangkok, Paris to Colombo, Paris to Moscow, this way. Paris is the hub and other destinations are spoke, this way. Let us go further. This is one just photograph. I have made it pictorial to keep you people seeing some new things. Okay. This is one cargo aircraft operated by DHL. These are some of the aircrafts by FedEx, one of the biggest freight forwarder of the world, or cargo operator of the world. This is UPS, a US cargo airline. Atlas Air Cargo, Gemini, etc. generally operate scheduled wide-body aircraft from one major airport to another, such as Chicago to Tokyo, and are highly reliant on the air freight forwarding industry. Approximately 10 to 15% of the world air cargo traffic is moved by all cargo carriers. about 10 to 15% of the world cargo industry. You people are able to listen to me? One of you can answer, or the host can answer.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Major airport to another, such as Chicago to Tokyo, and are highly reliant on the air freight forwarding industry. Approximately about 10 to 15% of the world air cargo traffic is moved by all cargo carriers. Let me tell you, whenever we talk about air freight or air cargo, two type of operators are taking the bulk of operations. One is freight carrier, another one is PAX carrier. PAX carrier or passenger carrier doesn't mean that they only carry passengers. In every aircraft, the lower deck or the belly of the aircraft is dedicated for the movement of cargo. In the belly, no passenger is allowed to move, only cargo. It is dedicated for cargo. Whenever you move, along with you, you carry a bag, some essentials, and without carrying those essentials or cargo, travel is possible, but travel is not tenable. You can go without any cargo, but for how long you can stay without any cargo? You cannot stay. You need food, that is cargo. You need wearing apparel, that is cargo. You need basic essentials, that is cargo. Okay. So to make travel possible and tenable, sustainable, cargo is essential. So travel and cargo, travel, tourism and cargo are inseparable in nature. People must be thinking that we have taken admission in tourism and travel and we have been told about cargo and how it is related. This relationship I want to show you people. Okay, because travel, tourism and cargo are interdependent on each other for mutual subsistence. Travel may be possible without cargo, but it cannot be sustainable for long. You have to go and come back again because you do not have food to eat, you do not have dress to change, you do not have utilities to use, then you have to come back and get back all those things. Okay. Well, now let us talk about that. As I was telling you, there are two types of operations happening in the case of air freight. One is your all cargo carriers. Second one is your passenger carriers. All cargo carriers are only responsible for 10 to 15% of world air cargo, whereas remaining about 80 to 85%, okay, are carried by passenger carriers in their belly. In their belly, they carry the cargoes, okay. Due to their airport to airport service structure, all cargo carriers are typically concentrated in large, high volume market airports. Geographic coverage is limited. That's why air cargo industry not only depends on passenger services, but it thrives on passenger services also. Okay. This is one such picture of the one of the biggest air cargo carrier of the world, that is Atlas Air. This is Gemini Air Cargo. Commercial service of passenger airlines. United, Delta, US Airways, Lufthansa, Air India, etc. are scheduled passenger airline operators. Why I'm telling these names? Because these are scheduled passenger operators doesn't mean that they only carry passengers. They do carry cargo operations also along with passengers. Space in the bellies of these aircraft is generally available to move cargo airport to airport. Commercial air carriers account for the majority of international air cargo lift. So as I have told you, about 80 to 85% of international cargo movements are happening not through freighter, but through commercial air carriers who also do passenger operations. The air cargo market share of commercial passenger carriers, particularly on domestic routes, has declined significantly due to security measures. Sorry, give me 1 minute. Particularly on domestic routes, has declined significantly due to security measures and restrictions brought about by September 11 terrorist attacks. Pre-September 11, it was estimated that commercial passenger carriers accounted for 25% of the domestic air cargo market. Post-September 11, because of security threats, commercial airlines decided to put a check and restriction on the movement of cargoes because it is sometimes very difficult to screen the cargoes in the bellies in order to establish the security threat. So they have taken a decision to reduce cargo in order to give priority to passenger safety. This has happened because of terrorist threats post September 11 across the globe. Grand Air, Volga Depna are unscheduled air charter operators who move goods from airport to airport. The market share of these operators is minimal. At times, like passenger charters, there are also cargo charter services. Examples are given like Grand Air, Volga Denpa, and these are also chartered cargo operators. If you have a full plane load of cargo to be urgently shifted to a destination, for example, a country has been ravaged by earthquake, there is an immediate need of emergency supply to that country. The only way you can send emergency supply to that country is by air carrier. And for that matter, you have to charter an airplane and you look for charter air services. And some examples are given here. Sporadic and unscheduled operations make tracking tonnage difficult. Best estimates put ad hoc cargo operators market share at 5% domestically and 2 to 3% internationally. But their share is very limited, 5% domestically and about 2 to 3% internationally. This is one such charter cargo carrier, Grand Air, and this is Volga Denpa Airlines. Okay, see how big a machine is being loaded into one aircraft. Imagine a machine, it is getting into the aircraft. So you can imagine how big the air cargo carriers are. They can carry 8 Abraham tanks in one go. One cargo carrier can carry 8 Abraham tanks in one go. Such is the capacity of air cargo carriers. Okay. The 4 types of air cargo carriers discussed in the previous section provide the following 3 primary types of air cargo service options. They are integrated express services, freight forwarding services, and airport to airport services. Okay. Integrated express carriers move the customer's material door to door, providing shipment, pickup, transport via air to truck and delivery. Like DHL. DHL is an integrated express carrier. If you want to send a consignment through DHL, give a call to their local office. Their truck would come along with their personnel. They will pick the consignment from your place. They will do the documentations. You need to pay only. And they would send the consignment by air to the destination. And at the destination also, they would deliver the consignment at the doorstep. And for all these things, they would be charging. They are called integrated because they also take care of the road transport portion, the cartage portion, the documentation portion, the clearing portion. Everything is taken care by them. They provide desk to desk services. Okay. Integrated express operates includes FedEx, UPS, DHL, Airborne Express, and to a certain extent, USPS is also an integrated postal service carrier. Express companies provide next day document and small packages service to the customers. Some airlines in India also like Indigo, though they are commercial carriers, they also provide express services. If you need to send an urgent consignment, approach Indigo or any other smaller airlines. Some people are yawning. Dibyansu, are you feeling sleepy? Feeling sleepy? Sit straight. Are you feeling bored? You want to talk to me? Have a question? Dibyansu, you are from which center? I do not allow anybody to yawn in my class actually. If you are feeling bored, you ask me question, engage yourself. Yawning is a symbol that things are not getting into your mind. You are forced to sit in the class. I do not want people to learn in my class forcibly. Motivate yourself. Have a sip of water. Take it easy. Take it easy, Dibyanshu, smile. Okay, take care. Thank you. Integrated Express carriers move the customer's material door to door, as I have told you. Express companies provide next day document and small package services to the customers. Now, Integrated Express carriers operate using a hub and spoke system, as I have told you in the example. Similar to the passenger airline system, the hub in the back is the backbone of the Integrated Express carrier, since it provides connections to each market. Each day of operation, flights from around the US arrive at the hub, where packages are offloaded, sorted in the hub to appropriate destination market, and then relocated onto the aircraft. Same thing happened in the case of India also. Freight forwarding companies act as brokers between the shipper and the carrier. All cargo, commercial, passenger or ad hoc charters. The forwarder handles wide-ranging types and sizes of freight, from small packages to be consolidated into container loads. Small packages to be consolidated into container loads. Here, one thing I would like to emphasize and tell you people, whenever you transport goods by air, smaller packages are not thrown into the aircraft belly as it is. It is put into a container or unit load device, as I have shown you in the first slide. Inside that container, those smaller packages are put, and the container is then put into the aircraft belly. Because as you know, aircraft operates with the principles of aerodynamics. If you put loose consignment in the belly, the consignments move helter and skelter. It would also hit the body of the aircraft. The consignment would be damaged, and as well as it may cause damage to the body of the aircraft. If the body of the aircraft is damaged, it would jeopardize the passenger safety, because the body of the aircraft is made up of aluminum, which is a softer material. Because of lightweight, it is made up of aluminum. Okay, so due care is taken that not to load the consignments into the aircraft belly loosely. It is put into a container first, then the container is moved into the aircraft belly and bolted against appropriate places, so that whenever takeoff and landing happens, there would be a lot of turbulence and thrust generated inside the aircraft, but the things would be kept in a secure position. Okay, the forwarder handles wide-ranging types and sizes of freight, from small packages to be consolidated into container loads to oversized one-time freight movements. These loads are then tendered to an air cargo carrier or commercial carrier to deliver to the forwarder's agent or subsidiary at another airport. This is how things operate. Airport to airport service is provided by all cargo and ad hoc charter and commercial passenger carriers. Freight must be dropped off at the airport by the shipper. Shipper is who? The person who is sending the goods. It's called shipper. There are three players, major players. One is shipper, the person who is sending the goods. Second one is carrier, the operator which is carrying the goods. Third one is the consignee, the person who is going to receive the goods. Okay, and in between, one more major player is there, that is called the cargo agent, who facilitate the transport of the goods, who facilitate the documentation and obtain necessary clearances. Okay. There are three major kinds of aircraft that serve as air freighters. This is something very interesting to all of you. Let us talk about different type of aircraft which operates scheduled airline freighter services. Wide body jets, narrow body jets, and narrow body turboprop aircraft. These are three type of aircraft globally which is used for commercial airlines. Both for freighter services as well as passenger services. Whenever we talk about a wide body jet primarily means a plane inside whose main cabin there are two aisles. Two aisles means the passageway. Aisle means passageway. Okay. If you are getting into say Airbus A320, both the sides you will have 3 seats each. You have only one aisle because Airbus A320 is a narrow bodied jet. But if you are getting into a Airbus A330, which is a wide bodied jet, you will have 2 aisles. In one side you will have 3 seats, then there is a passageway, then in the center you will have 4 seats, then another passageway, then in the left side you will have 3 more seats. Okay, so all together you have 4, 6, 10 seats. One row is containing 10 seats, whereas in a narrow bodied jet, one row is containing only 6 seats. One passageway only in the center. But in a wide body jet, you will have 2 passageway in the center. 2 passageway. I'll show you some photographs which will be clarifying you people in the next slide maybe. There are different types of aircraft: military aircraft, civilian aircraft, private aircraft, commercial aircraft, passenger aircraft, cargo aircraft, and combination aircraft. These are different types of aircraft in which commercial operations happens. Okay. Let us see. This is a passenger aircraft. A passenger aircraft. One of the very famous airline from the Middle East, Etihad carriers. And this aircraft is what? This is what type of a aircraft? Anybody is having any idea? This is an Airbus A320. Airbus A320. 2 participants raised hands. What happened? You want to ask some question? 3 participants raised hands. Okay. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes at the end to clarify your doubts. This is inside the belly of the aircraft. Not exactly the belly. This is a freighter aircraft, the main deck. How things are being put inside the aircraft with the help of strings. All the things are put together on pallets, and pallets are put inside the aircraft. This is a freighter. In the first slide I have shown you, I'm going back. In the first slide I have shown you passenger aircraft. In the second slide I have shown you a freighter, and here I am showing you a combi aircraft. In a combi aircraft, half of the aircraft or the main deck, half of the main deck is shared between passenger and cargo. Okay, this portion is for passengers and this portion is for cargo. You can see the cursor moving. Are you able to see? Huh? Lavanya or Shravani? Raise your hand. Are you able to see? All of you are able to see, respond. At least you can raise your hand and give an assent.
Yes, sir.
You are able to see? Okay, good. This is a combi aircraft. Good, Shravani. Thank you. This is a combi aircraft. The front portion is, this portion is for cargo and this portion is for passenger. Normally, whether it is a narrow bodied aircraft or it is a wide bodied aircraft, in a narrow bodied aircraft, you have two decks, the main deck and the lower deck. The main deck is for passenger, whereas the lower deck is for cargo. But in case of a combination aircraft, half of the main deck is for cargo and half of the main deck is for passenger. Half of the main deck is for cargo and half of the main deck is for passenger. Is that clear? Whereas whole of the lower deck is for cargo. In case of a wide-bodied aircraft, there are three decks, not in all, like a Boeing 747, Airbus A380. Boeing 747 and Airbus A380, you will have three deck, upper deck, mid deck and lower deck. In case of Airbus A380, upper deck is for passenger, mid deck is for passenger, whereas lower deck is for cargo. In case of Boeing 747, the upper deck is for passenger, the mid deck is for passenger, and the lower deck is for cargo. But in case of a wide-bodied aircraft, there are three decks. But a narrow-bodied aircraft, there are only two decks. You remember this. Wide-bodied aircraft, not in all. Some wide-bodied aircraft, there are three decks. Some wide-bodied aircraft, I have given you two examples. Boeing 747, then Airbus A380, having three decks. Whereas rest of the wide-bodied aircrafts are also having only two decks. Okay, I'll show you different types of aircraft, don't worry. This is a first for familiarization class. There may be lots of questions generated in your mind. I would request the people at Golia who are coordinating this class, in future they may arrange one more session for me, because 1 hour is very less a time to clarify all your doubts and give justice to such a topic of air cargo. Okay, maybe
sure, sir. We'll
in the
be
future I will
arranging
come
everything
again
else.
to say and clarify your doubts. Let me see. Aircrafts are mostly classified on the basis of engines. Number of engines. Aircraft are single engine, twin engine, or multi-engine. There are single engine aircraft, twin engine aircrafts, and multiple engine aircrafts. One example is single engine aircraft. The aircraft is mounted at the front. Engine is mounted at the front. Propeller driven. A320, Boeing 737, Boeing 727, Boeing 707, Airbus A321, Airbus A320neo. These are all two-engine aircraft. Then multiple engine aircraft, you have this Boeing 747. It is having 4 engines. Okay. And there is a aircraft once only produced in the world. Only one aircraft. Its name is Antonov 225, popularly known as Miria, the biggest aircraft of the world, having 6 engines. I will show photograph also. Latter part of the slide, I will show you the photograph of Miria, the biggest aircraft of the world. So in some aircraft, there can be 6 engines also. 4 engine, 6 engine, 2 engine, and in some aircrafts you will have 3 engines. 2 engines are mounted in the wings and 1 engine is mounted at the tail fin. 3 engines aircrafts are also there. I'll show you. Then range, an aircraft can be short range, medium range and long range depending on the number of miles it can fly. How much distance it can cover depending on range is fixed. Some aircrafts are called short rangers, like Boeing 777 is considered as a long ranger or intercontinental flyer, which can cover a whole continent and get into another continent over the ocean. Size and payload of the capacity. Aircraft can be of different sizes and configurations and can also have different payload capacities. Okay. Like for example, major components of an aircraft, exterior of an aircraft, what constitutes? Wing assembly, empennage, or the tail portion is called empennage of the aircraft. Fuselage, the main body is called fuselage of the aircraft and other components. Then interior, you will have cockpit, you will have galley, you have laboratories, storage areas, passenger seats, other components of the aircraft. This is how the aircraft's different body parts are located. And these small portions are called winglets. Horizontal stabilizer. This is horizontal stabilizer. This is rudder. With the help of this, the aircraft is directions is controlled. These are spoiler. They open up at the time of takeoff and landing. These are engines. This portion, this main body is called fuselage. This portion where the pilot sits is called cockpit. These are turbine engines. And some cases there are jet engines. Okay. Let us go further. Sorry. 3 types of fuel tanks are available: inbuilt fuel tanks, rigid removable tanks, and bladder tanks. Okay, we are discussing about only inbuilt fuel tanks. Where is the fuel tank of an aircraft located? The fuel tank of the aircraft is located in the wings. Wherever the engine is located, the fuel tank is also located there. It is somewhere between this place. This is this portion, the fuel tank is located. This portion, connector, the connector between the fuselage and the wing, the fuel tank is located. This is the cockpit of an aircraft. This is the cockpit of an aircraft, and this area where necessary facilities from where the hostesses and air flight pursers are operating are called galley. Necessary food trolleys, convection machines, heating machines, necessary equipments, necessary stationaries, all those things required for serving the aircraft. This is called the galley area of the aircraft, from where the hostess and operators operate. Okay. And this is the loo of an aircraft. The loo of an aircraft. This is how the aircraft loo, laboratory. Then these are the chambers where your cabin baggages need to be kept. Cabin baggages need to be kept just above the seats. There are specific dimensions. You need to carry those kind of baggages only which can be kept in the upper cabin inside the aircraft. These are storage areas. These are called overhead bins. Okay. And they are also called coat closets. Don't carry heavy cargoes inside the cabin. It is also not been allowed. There are specific dimension and weight you can carry maximum. These are seats, seating capacities of a wide-bodied aircraft. And this particular seat is a first-class seat. See how a first-class seat is contoured and designed to give maximum comfort to the passenger. If you want to lie, you can lie also. Even a private space is given to have your food and work inside a first-class cabin. These are other components, like these are passenger controls, passenger control unit or PCUs. From where you can switch on the light, just press one button, you can switch on the reading light. Then you can control the AC vents, just turn it. You can control the flow of air. And from this unit, in case of depressurization or filling of low oxygen, this particular portion would open up and oxygen mask would fall automatically. You have to pull it and put it in your mouth in order to assist yourself for oxygen. And these are also passenger service units, aircraft communication system, then aircraft lighting systems. Here you can control light, your music and etc. You can put your earphone sockets are here. You can put earphone sockets and control your music. You can demand music. In some airlines it is available also, but not in every airline. There are major aircraft manufacturers. These are the major aircraft manufacturers who are manufacturing aircrafts for commercial airlines. There are two major aircraft manufacturers in the world. One is the American company called Boeing. Another one is a European conglomerate. Conglomerate means combination of about 4 or 5 companies like France, Germany, Spain, UK. France, Germany, Spain and UK, they together have constituted one company called Airbus. These are the two major companies who provide different commercial airliner to the world. Airbus of Europe and Boeing of United States. Besides that, there is another company, Antonov, which provides aircraft to those Russian side of the world. Antonov of Ukraine. Then there is a company from France also, ATR, France and Italy. Smaller aircraft, you must have seen in smaller, it is operating in smaller sectors. They are turboprop aircraft. Then you have Bombardier from Canada. You have Comac from China. You have Embraer from Brazil. You have Let Kunovic from Czech Republic. You have Mitsubishi from Japan. You have United Aircraft Corporation from Russia, which includes Tupolev, Yukon, Sukhoi, Ilyushin. These are all Russian aircraft. Then you have JN Aircraft Industrial Corporation from China. Then you have Concorde. Airbus supplied replacement parts and services for Concorde units. Concorde is from British Aerospatiale Corporation, BAC. So majorly, 90% of, say not 90, about 80% of the world's commercial airliners are from Airbus and Boeing. Remaining 20% are divided between Antonov, Tupolev, Yukon, and Ilyushin. Whereas for executive jets, passenger jets, or corporate jets, this company of Brazil, Embraer, provides aircrafts. I'll show you details of every company and a type of aircraft. This is from Airbus, different type of aircraft provided by Airbus. Okay. See, A220, 2-engine, single aisle, originally Bombardier C series. It can accommodate up to 130 passengers, maximum 160. A300, 2-engine, 2-aisle, 228 to 254 passengers, maximum 361. A310, A318, A319, A320, A321. These are the two most popular aircraft. 319, 320, 321 are the most popular aircraft by Airbus. Even A330 is a twin-engine, twin-aisle, bigger aircraft, wide-bodied aircraft. A340 is a 4-engine, twin-aisle aircraft. A350 is a 2-engine, twin-aisle aircraft, and A380 is a 4-engine, double-deck, twin-aisle aircraft. These are different types of aircraft provided by Airbus. Let us go to other manufacturer, that is Boeing. Boeing is having different types of aircraft. 737, about 215 people can be carried, minimum 85 people can be carried in this aircraft. Boeing 747, one of the biggest aircraft of all time, most popular aircraft. It is popularly called as the Airbus, but actually it is not Airbus. Airbus is a different company. It can accommodate up to 605 people maximum. But normally, ideally, it carries about 450 to 460 passengers. Boeing 767 can carry maximum 375 people. Boeing 777, about 550 people. Then Boeing 787. Then you will have Boeing 707, 717, 200, 720, 727, 737 original, 737 classic, 737 NG, 737 MAX, 747-8, 757. These are different series of aircraft of Boeing. Then you have Antonov. In Antonov, you have Antonov 40, Antonov 2, Antonov 200, Antonov 3, Antonov 4, Antonov 6, Antonov 8, Antonov 10, Antonov 11, 12, 13, 14, and Antonov 20. These are all turboprop aircraft. Remember, all the Antonov aircrafts are turboprop aircraft, means they do not have jet engines. They have fan type of engines, turboprop engines. But these are all Ukrainian aircraft, popular aircrafts, low-cost aircrafts, still operating in the Russian part of Europe. Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, in these areas, these aircrafts are very popular. Armenia, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, these areas, CIS countries. Then you have Antonov 22, Antonov 24, Antonov 26, and some of the Antonov aircrafts are also military transport aircrafts, bigger aircraft, used for the purpose of military transportation. Like Antonov 44 is a cargo aircraft, Antonov 50, Antonov 51, Antonov 52, Antonov 70, Antonov 71. These are different Antonov aircrafts. Mainly, these aircrafts are famous for its cargo lifting capacity. Then Antonov 225, strategic airlifter, largest aircraft ever built. Only one has been put into service. I'll show you the photograph of the biggest aircraft ever built. That is Antonov 225, shortly from now. Now you have ATRs, the French and Italy company. They have different aircraft and their capacities are mentioned here. ATRs, ATR 72 and ATR 42, turboprop aircrafts. See, this is the photograph I was talking about. This is the photograph of Miria or Antonov 225. It's the biggest of them all. It holds the world record for largest single item payload of 4,18,834 pounds. It is carrying over its back another space shuttle, transporting one space shuttle. It is the largest aircraft ever built, having 6 engines. See, 1, 2, 3. The other side also there are 3 engines. Biggest aircraft, only one has been built, still in operation. Then you have this one from US, from Boeing. This is also one of the biggest aircraft of its kind, but second to Miria. 7478. It's a freighter aircraft, a cargo version of the passenger 7478. Intercontinental is actually a heavier plane with an almost 9 lakh pound maximum takeoff weight. 9 lakh pound maximum takeoff weight. But the Dreamlifter's fuselage design allows the plane to carry particularly large or awkwardly shaped items. It is normally used by the NASA people to carry rocket engines, in the US. It is one of the most reliable aircraft of the United States of America for carrying odd-sized cargo. The body is designed that way. Then you have Antonov AN-124. This is also one of the biggest aircraft, but the third biggest one. See, a submarine is loaded into this aircraft. The Soviet-built Antonov 124 Condor is largest military aircraft in the world. This deep submerged rescue vehicle, it is a kind of submarine. It is getting loaded into this aircraft. How big it could have been. And it is not only loaded, it is loaded with the help of a trailer truck. The whole truck would be getting into the aircraft, because then only it can be unloaded. Then you have this one, Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is a US company which manufactures mainly your F-16, the famous war machine. They manufacture this aircraft, Lockheed C-5. We have a couple of them. We have obtained a couple of these C-5 aircraft from US to equip our military in India. Lockheed C-5 Galaxy is the largest aircraft routinely operated by US military with a payload capacity of almost 240,000 pounds. The Lockheed Galaxy is capable of carrying M1 Abraham main battle tanks, 16 Humvees, or a variety of other vehicles. Humvees is a kind of vehicle, war vehicles. And this is the Airbus Beluga, was introduced in 1995 to replace the old Super Guppy of NASA. I've shown you already. But Super Guppy is still popular than this Airbus Beluga. This is a bigger aircraft. Various wide-body freighter is Boeing 747. Then your Boeing 777. This is also a Boeing 747 of Emirates. Various narrow-body freighters are your Swiss Air, this one. This is a Antonov aircraft. This one is also Antonov aircraft. This aircraft is having 3 engines. See, 1, 2, 3. The other side there is another engine. The one engine is mounted at the winglet, at the top of the wing. Various cargo feeder aircraft. These are feeder aircrafts. They feed to the bigger aircrafts. These are feeder aircrafts. These are also feeder aircrafts. I think my time is up. Somebody else must be waiting for the class. Whatever portion is left, sometime else we'll discuss. Boys and girls, I'm very happy to address you people. Hope you people have got some kind of know-how about airline operations across the globe. Now,
Is this audible? Am I audible, sir?
let me check if you want to ask me, Himanshu or Prince.
Yes, sir.
प्रिंस और हिमांशु कोई है क्या?
Yes, sir. I am here,
Yes,
sir.
sir, we are here.
Hello.
Himanshu, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Audible enough?
Yes,
Chalo.
ma'am.
Anybody want to
Hussain?
ask me any question?
So there are few questions, but maybe we have lost the questions within chat.
Meera madam.
No, sir, Ranu Chauhan.
Ranu. Yes, sorry. Ranu, tell me what happened. Ranu. Ranu, I'm not able to listen to you. I'm audible, Ranu.
Sir, you are audible.
Yeah, there are a few questions. Can you ask me one?
Am I audible, Himanshu?
Yes, ma'am. You are.
Sir, I'm trying to fix the problem. Am I audible?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Sir, there is a question in the chat box. There is one.
There is a question in the chat box. Okay, what is that question? Worked with Indigo for 18 months as a security officer. So will it help me after doing MBA? Sir, I have worked with Indigo for 18 months. I worked with, please guide. Sir, I have worked with Indigo for 18 months as a security officer. So will it help me after doing MBA? Of course, it will help you. Certainly, you would get weightage over other participants who have not worked. Sir, if I want to specialize in aviation, so what do I have to do? First, you have to go with your normal courses in the third semester only. You need to choose specialization. At that point of time, you have to choose cargo and aviation, logistics and supply chain as your specialization. We all are there to help you. The entire IITTM brigade is there to help you to achieve your dreams. So there is no doubt about it. Job opportunities in air cargo after MBA job is excellent. One of the best in the industry. The pay package, as I have told you from the beginning, is one of the best in the industry. But cracking the interview is tough in the industry. The reason is 95% of the employers are multinational companies. If you are fit enough and able to crack 2-3 rounds, about 4 rounds of selection process, we are ready to provide you opportunities. Our placement desk would work tirelessly. It is you who has to select yourself. Our job is to provide you opportunities. You have to perform to get yourself selected. Then please name some job position at air cargo. Some job positions like you can be executives, export operations, executive import operations, executive documentations, executive sales. These are normal jobs. Executive clearances, executive break bulking, executive consolidations. These are the kind of jobs. Counseling jobs are also there. Customer relationship jobs also there. And Jitendra Tripathi is writing a lot of opportunities. Yes, very good. I also agree with Jitendra. Subham Soni, after BBA, we can do job in air cargo. Of course, you can do job in air cargo, but if you go after MBA, you would have a better prospects to go into higher strata in terms of job specifications and job classifications. Sir, please give us another class
Sir, if I can
about this.
please, Hussain sir.
Yes.
So, apologies for interrupting, but we are overrunning from time, and we have our
I know. You can stop me, madam. I don't have any problem.
So, thank you so much for the lecture, sir. It was very informative. Like students have even started asking whether they can take the specialization. So this means that you have created interest. Thank you so much, sir. We'll sign off from the session. Students, you are requested to join the next session, which was scheduled from 1:05. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ranu, and thank you very much all the students. We'll be meeting soon in various platforms. Thank you for listening to me patiently. Thank you all the organizers, the coordinators, Ranu madam and Prince, and Mr. Sai Himanshu and all other people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.